Hey, I'm Jusko from ProudMoney.com. The X1 credit card is now available for anyone to go and apply straight from the X1 site. And in this video, we're going to do an updated review of it. Before we do, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you have not already. And if you have already, I thank you for doing so. So the X1 credit card, which was introduced with a lot of fanfare, a lot of hype about maybe a year and a half ago, which had a waiting list and you needed a special code. Well, all of the barriers have come down and now anyone can apply for the X1 credit card. Doesn't necessarily mean everyone's going to be approved for it, but everyone can apply. Now, the X1 credit card has a number of interesting features, but probably what was most exciting about it to a certain segment of people was, number one, the application process. X1 was sort of promising that they were going to look not only at your credit history, but also at your income. And for some people, if you didn't even have a credit history, that meant that there was the potential to be approved. So if you were someone that was having a hard time getting your first credit card, or maybe you're going to be able to get a credit card, but it was only going to have, a measly $500 limit or whatever, maybe this one seemed more attractive to you. And number two, sort of following from what I just said, is that the X1 credit card was promising much larger credit limits. So if you felt like you were getting measly credit limits, they were saying that you might get 5 times the credit limit that you would from other credit card issuers. Now, how they came up exactly with 5 times the amount versus other credit card issuers is not entirely clear. But anyway, that was sort of the hype. And from people that were on the waiting list and have been able to get their hands on the card, were approved for it, it seems like the claims have been pretty much true. People getting it as their first credit card and being able to use their income as a way to sort of justify their application even if they didn't have a credit history. And it sounds like the credit lines have been larger than people were seeing with other credit cards. So there's been a lot of happiness as far as that goes in terms of being approved and getting those larger credit lines. Sort of mixed reviews in terms of customer service, so it will be interesting to see how customer service works now that they have sort of opened the gates instead of controlling the flow as they've done up to this point. That said, let's do a little deeper dive on the X1 credit card. It hasn't changed a whole lot since it was first announced, but the credit card market has changed a little bit. So let's look at its features and see how it stacks up. So the X1 credit card is a no annual fee Visa signature credit card. It is made of stainless steel. If you care about having a metal credit card, that might be a feature that you like. In terms of rewards, you are getting 2 points per dollar on all of your purchases with the card across the board, no categories to consider. However, you could get 3 points per dollar on all of your purchases if you spend at least $15,000 on the card over the course of a year. And then there are other opportunities to earn more points based on purchases in certain categories where you're getting special offers or referring other people to the card. But sort of at the base for most people, and for purposes of this video, it is the 2 points per dollar or the 3 points per dollar if you can hit that $15K per year. There's no new cardholder bonus opportunity on the X1 credit card, at least not as I make this video, which is going to make it less attractive, obviously, to many people, myself included. However, if you are someone that is newer or very new to credit, and this is a card that you can be approved for and maybe get that bigger credit line, maybe you don't care about that as much because maybe the other cards that you could get your hands on don't have a bonus, or maybe it would be difficult to reach that anyway as far as you're concerned. So maybe it is the everyday reward earnings and redemptions that you're going to care about more, but no bonus opportunity. Now let's look at how you can redeem the points you earn on the X1 card, because again, this is a place that could be a non-starter for some people, might be okay for others. So the points that you earn will be worth a penny per point when you redeem them for statement credits against purchases that you have made with the card at certain retailers. So you buy from Amazon, for example, that is a charge on your card, and then you could use your points against that at a penny per point. And the list of retailers and other merchants where you could use your points that way is pretty good. So Amazon, I just mentioned, Apple, Nike, Lululemon, you got good travel retailers, Airbnb, Southwest, United, American Airlines, Uber, and there are a lot of others as well. You're not going to get the cash in your hands. It's only going to be against those particular purchases. Now you can get cash back from your points, but it is not going to be at the same penny per point translation there. It is going to be 0.7 cents per point. So when we think about 2 points per dollar, in your head you might think of that as 2%, and it would be when you're using your points against those purchases you made at those certain retailers. But if it's 0.7 cents per point, well then when you just cash out in general, you're looking at 1.4%, which is not so great on that 2x. Or if you had the 3 points per dollar, you would be looking at a 2.1% cash back rate, which actually is not so bad. And if you only wanted to carry one credit card, that would maybe be something that you were okay with if you spent over $15,000 on the card. If you think about it, with those retailers, a lot of big names there. Let's say you spent $15,000 per year on the card. We'll use $15,000 exactly. At 3% or 3 points per dollar, you'd have 45,000 points. So that's $450 of buying power or statement credits against purchases from some big names. So if you're someone that ever was going to buy tickets on Southwest or United or American, or you did an Airbnb, or you used Uber often, or you're going to buy something from Apple or from Amazon, if you could hit $450 in purchases in that retail list, which many people could, especially if you're spending $15,000 on a credit card in a year, well then you might be okay with that. And that is a 3% reward across the board on all your purchases. So that's not bad. All right, let's look at some other features of the X1 card that might help you to decide. When you apply for the card, there's going to be a soft pull on your credit report, meaning it is not going to hurt your credit at all for you to at least see what they would offer you to see whether you would be approved. However, if they tell you are approved and you go ahead and get the card, then there's going to be a hard pull on your credit, and so that is going to ding your credit score to some extent, assuming you have a credit score at all. I don't think you should think about this too much, because if you got the card and you got the hard pull, well, you wanted the card, and that's just how it works. If it dings your credit score a few points, not a big deal. It will go back up over time, especially with your responsible credit card use. If you are approved, in many cases, that will be an instant approval, and you will also be able to use the card instantly if you so choose, even before you have the physical card in your hand. So you would get some sort of number, not sure if that's a temporary number or if it's your permanent credit card number, but you could use the card immediately. Thinking of virtual numbers or temporary numbers, there also is the fact that with the X1 card, they're sort of touting the fact of virtual card numbers, which a lot of credit cards have. But in this case, they talk about things such as using a card that is a single use or a 24-hour use, so that you could use them for things like free trials where you know they would charge your credit card at the end of a week or whatever. Well, in this case, if you use the credit card, you could get the free trial, but when they come back in a week and try and charge your credit card, that credit card doesn't exist anymore. So that's sort of a way for you not to worry about those kind of free trials where you suddenly forget that they're going to charge your card, all that kind of stuff. All right, fees and interest, all of that good stuff. I've already said this is a no annual fee card. It does not have any sort of 0% offer on purchases or balance transfers. Your interest rate, as I make this video, is going to be anywhere from 15% to 22%. 15%, not so bad in today's market. 22 is pretty high. So depending on your credit history, you could end up in a not very good place interest rate wise. But as long as you pay off your card in full every month, you won't have to pay interest. And so that is not necessarily a concern for you. No foreign transaction fees on this card. So if you use it outside of the United States, you're not going to get charged any extra. There are a lot of cards out there that are no annual fee cards that are going to charge you an extra 3%. So that is good. No late fees on the card. You can add up to 5 authorized users if you want to. The X1 credit card is issued by X1 in partnership with Coastal Community Bank. So that is the actual bank that is handling your account. X1 is a company on the front end, one of these fintech financial technology companies that is doing the marketing and is doing the customer service for the most part, but the actual bank behind it is a different bank, Coastal Community Bank. The card is a Visa signature. As I mentioned earlier, there are some extra benefits that come with the Visa signature label. In this case, you've got some cell phone protection, you've got some travel insurances, some some extended warranty features on this card. X1 is a little bit vague in terms of the details on those things, so I had a hard time really finding what the details were on all those. So if you have to, you know, pay some sort of deductible on the cell phone protection and those sorts of things, you'll want to look closer at that. I don't know how many people are going to get this card for those extra features in particular, but they are on there. So that is it. If X1 can continue to offer the rewards that they're offering as I make this video, and if they can handle things from a customer service perspective, I think they might have a hit on their hands, especially if you're someone that only wants to hold one card and you can spend over $15,000 per year and you're okay with using those rewards just against the purchases that you make at the certain retailers. Well, then that could be a pretty nice 3% card. And of course, if you're someone that's newer to credit, maybe you can't hit that spend, but still, if you're getting 2 points per dollar and you can use it at retailers where you would spend anyway, you might be perfectly happy. So I would be interested to hear what you think of the card, especially if you were someone that got the card during the waiting list period or during the sort of period where they were letting people in fits and starts. If you already have some experience, please let me know in the comments, or if you just have any other comments or questions, put those in there too. Otherwise, I thank you for watching, and as always, please go to proudmoney.com, where we do credit card reviews, we talk personal finance, we talk deals, and all sorts of other fun stuff too. If you are not going to leave a comment or you're not going to go check out the website, watch this video.